You know, your mindset, it can either be this massive wall holding you back, or it can be the rocket fuel that just launches you forward. So today, we're going to dive into that invisible lens, the one you see the world through, and maybe more importantly, the one you see yourself through. And it all starts with one pretty fundamental question.
Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. What if the thing holding you back isn't your talent or the money you have or where you live? What if the number one obstacle is something you actually have total control over? What if it's just your own mind?
And why is that? Well, it's pretty simple, really. Our thoughts are what guide our actions, right? Think about it. If you're convinced a door is locked, you're not even going to bother trying to handle. It's the exact same idea with your mindset. If it's rigid, if it's locked, you're just not going to push for growth. And that's why this is so critical. It's the starting line for everything.
Okay, so how do we actually break this down? Well, it pretty much boils down to two totally different, kind of opposite ways of looking at the world and at ourselves.
So this whole idea, this framework, it comes from the amazing work of psychologist Carol Dweck. And what's really cool is how she discovered it. She started by just watching kids, watching how they tackled hard puzzles. And she saw this fascinating split. Some kids, at the first hint of a struggle, just kind of wilted. But others, they lit up. They got excited by the challenge. And that single observation, that was the key that led her to identify these two core mindsets that honestly shape our entire lives.
And right here, this is the heart of her work. It's a super clear contrast. On one hand, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the voice that says your smarts, your talents, they're just permanent traits. You're either good at something or you're not. End of story. But then, on the other hand, you have the growth mindset. And this is the belief that, yeah, you can absolutely develop your abilities through effort, through dedication, through smart work. And this, right here, is where the magic happens. A growth mindset is all about believing that your true potential, it's a total unknown. No one can put a ceiling on it. And it's so important to get this. It's not just about gritting your teeth and trying harder. It's about trying smarter. You know, using new strategies, asking for help, and just sticking with it. It's that killer combo of effort plus learning.
Now, this is a super important point, so I want to make sure it's clear. This isn't about some kind of blind optimism, you know? It's not just telling yourself, I can do anything for no reason. It's much more grounded than that. It's the simple, powerful belief that with effort, progress is possible, and that one little shift, just believing that progress is on the table, that's what changes the entire game.
So once you start to adopt this way of thinking, it creates these huge ripple effects in your life. And maybe the biggest one is how it completely flips the script on something we all dread: failure. See, with a fixed mindset, when you fail, it feels like a final judgment. It's a big red stamp that says you're not good enough. But with a growth mindset, failure is just feedback. It's not a personal attack. It's just data. It's telling you, hey, that approach didn't work. Let's try something else. And I'm telling you, reframing it like that is an absolute game changer.
And let's be real, we've all been there, haven't we? Something goes wrong, and that first question that pops into your head is, why did I fail? It's this awful gut punch of a question that just looks backward and usually ends in feeling ashamed or blaming someone.
But what if you asked something else? The growth mindset gives us a new question, a way more powerful one. This one looks forward. It takes that painful moment and turns it into a lesson. Suddenly, every setback isn't an ending. It's the setup for your next comeback.
So you can actually turn this into a really simple, practical little process. First, you face what happened. No judgment, no drama, just look at it. Step 2, you ask, okay, what's the lesson here? What do I need to do differently? What skill do I need to work on? And then step 3, and this is the most important part, you take that new information and you actually use it next time. See? Nothing gets wasted. It all becomes fuel for the fire.
Okay, so having the right mindset is awesome, but it's only half the battle. Putting it into action, that takes something else. It takes a real willingness to get uncomfortable.
I mean, think about it, like going to the gym. When you're lifting weights and your muscles start to burn, that's not a sign you should stop, right? No, that's the signal that you're actually getting stronger. Well, personal growth is the exact same thing. That feeling of, this is hard, or I'm not sure I can do this, that's not a stop sign. That's the feeling of your comfort zone stretching. It's proof that you're growing.
So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it's making yourself have that awkward but really important conversation. It's that feeling of being a total beginner at something new and, feeling kind of clumsy and silly. It's pushing forward with a project even when you have no idea how it's going to turn out. That, right there, that's where the real growth is.
And this brings us to another huge mental shift. I think most of us were trained from day one to just obsess over the results. We want the good grade, the promotion, the shiny trophy. But a growth mindset, it pushes you to switch your focus, to focus on the process instead. You know, the stuff you can actually control.
I mean, think about it. The results, they can be fleeting. Sometimes it's just dumb luck. But the process, your effort, the new things you learn, the habits you build every single day, that is what changes you for good. That's what builds your skills and your character. And you know what? When you really learn to love the process, the results, they tend to follow.
So when you boil it all down, this is what it's all about. It's this one profound shift in perspective. You stop seeing challenges as threats, and you start seeing them as opportunities. Every obstacle is now a lesson. Every problem is just a puzzle to solve. And every single setback is just another stepping stone on your way up.
So, I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. It doesn't have to be about this specific mindset, but what's the one single shift in your thinking that has made the biggest difference in your life? Because when you really think about that, you start to see just how true it is that the world you create on the inside is what builds the reality you live in on the outside.